Are you planning a trip to the Philippines and wondering if it's worthwhile to visit Moalboal and go on the famous sardine run? Well, you're in luck because in this video, I'm going to give you the full guide and breakdown of what it's like, what you can expect, and if it's worth your time. Let's dive right into it. And first things first, what exactly is the sardine run? And in very simple terms, it's basically just a giant bait ball of sardines. There's literally millions of them located just off the shore of the Panagsima beach in Moalboal. And for whatever reason, they're always here. They might move around a little bit around the shore, but as far as I can remember, they've been here since at least 2007. And I think it's due to ocean currents, temperature. It's a bit protected for them. And they've made it their home. And you can pretty much guarantee yourself seeing the sardine run in Moalboal. So it's definitely one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences to see this many fish in close proximity to the shore. And it's quite mesmerizing and beautiful. And there's nothing else quite like this that I've done. I've logged over 100 scuba dives. And to guarantee yourself like a thing like this is quite rare in the underwater world. Like you can't guarantee yourself seeing, whale sharks or like reef tip sharks or octopus. But you pretty much can go to Moalboal at any point and see the sardine run, which is actually quite interesting. Now let's take a deeper dive into the location of the sardine run. So obviously here's the Philippines. So I'll zoom in on Moalboal on the island of Cebu in the Visayas region. Now, the name Moalboal is kind of like a generic name for this region. And most tourists will actually base themselves over here in this Bastiat area. This is where you'll find most of the tourist infrastructure, like the bars, the restaurants, like the tour guides. And the sardines are just along the coast right here. And when I did it, there were people snorkeling, free diving. I chose to scuba dive it. And basically, I got my gear at the Amigos dive shop, is the one I used. And we just walked right off the shore into the water. And within a minute or two, we could see the sardines. They were like 10 meters from the shore when I went. So it's quite easy. You could do this on your own. You could just rent snorkel gear and jump in the water. I do think it's a little bit better scuba diving it. You're down there longer and you get a better view of the fish. That's just my opinion, but it's very easy to actually access the dive, and it's actually a very easy tourist trip. Like most people are staying in this area, and you can just rent your gear, jump into the water, and you could be done after an hour, then do something else. There's plenty of day trips in Moalboal, and I'll get into them as we go through the video here. Now, who is this trip best for? Well, to be honest, I think everyone can enjoy this trip. It's not far from the shore. It's not super deep. I think it's fairly safe. If you're not a great swimmer, you can also get a life jacket with your snorkel gear. I saw people doing that, and they seemed to be having a great time. I saw people who are better swimmers who are free diving the sardine run, which is becoming very popular. I also saw lots of conventional snorkelers there, and there were a whole bunch of scuba divers as well. And this can be a great trip for everyone. And again, it doesn't take very long. I was there for about an hour on my dive, and after that, there's plenty of day trips in the area. So it can be for everyone. It's not very time consuming. It's fairly cheap, and I think it's very accessible just being right close to the shore. Next up, when is the best time to do this? Now, the sardine run, they've been here for as long as I can remember, ever since 2007. So they're here permanently, and you can go whenever during the year. But in this part of the Philippines, it's ideal from, say, December until May. That's the dry season. From like June to November, that would be the wet season. But I've been in the Philippines in the wet season, and it can rain most days, but it doesn't last the entire day. It might rain for a little bit, then it's sunny all of a sudden. So you could go in the off season, and it would still be a great time. But I think for most tourists, the dry season is probably the most ideal time to visit. Now let's go over the costs of doing this. Now, first things first, you could do this as a day trip from Cebu City. It's about a 3-hour drive on the bus. If you have your own car, it might be even faster. But on the bus, about 3 hours. You could do like the sardine run. You could also do the Kawasan Falls on the same day and make it back to Cebu City. Like, it would be a long day, but you could definitely do it. And I have a link in the written description where you can actually look at some of those tour packages. If you're a great swimmer and you have your own gear, you could do this for free. You could literally just go out there and free dive it. I'd recommend having goggles so you could actually see the fish better. But it could be free if you wanted to. You could rent snorkeling gear, which is actually pretty cheap. I think it's about a couple hundred pesos to do that. Again, I chose to dive it, and I think I paid about 2,500 pesos. I did this back in January, so I'm trying to remember the exact price, but it wasn't much. You'll find diving in the Philippines is very affordable. So call it 2,500 pesos, maybe 3,000. And it's definitely a once in a lifetime sort of thing. It's definitely worth it. And you can also rent some like GoPros as well. It might be a couple hundred pesos. So I think it's a fairly affordable trip. And again, once in a lifetime sort of thing, and definitely worth the cost. Now let's talk about the actual scuba diving in more detail. Now I've logged over 100 dives now, and I've been in the Philippines, Honduras, Belize, Mexico, Thailand, Hawaii. So I've been around, done a few dives, and for me it was outstanding, this sardine run. For the first half an hour, I thought it was just mesmerizing, very beautiful, and it's a shallow dive, not super deep. And for shallower dives, your tank lasts a long time. So after like 40 minutes or so, I was kind of getting a little bit bored of it just because it was taking a long time. And my mouth gets super dry on long dives. So for me, after half an hour, I was kind of, I've seen it, so I was kind of done with it. I'd still highly recommend it. It's one of those once in a lifetime sort of things. But if I'm being honest, I got a bit bored after like 30, 40 minutes, and I was ready to get back to the shore. Now, if you are diving here, there is the sardines. You'll also find lots of like tube fish here. We saw a few eels. There were a few, they looked like tarpon. I wasn't quite sure what they were. So there was other stuff here as well besides the sardines. But my preference, I like the more traditional dive sites, so there's more variety, like the walls and wrecks and stuff like that. So if you are diving here, you can legit do the sardine run in the morning, and you could do 2 or 3 dives afterwards. You could go to Pescador Island. There's a bunch of dive sites all around Moalboal. And you could also do a night dive. So this could be like an entire day of scuba diving, and it will be awesome. So don't just think that Moalboal is only for the sardine run. There's plenty of stuff to do here as well in terms of diving. Next up, let's talk about getting to Moalboal. Now this is super easy. If you're coming from Cebu City, just make your way to the South Bus Terminal and just ask the staff there, I want to go to Moalboal, how do I do it? And they'll just point you out to the right bus. And the buses are cheap in the Philippines. I think I paid about 150 pesos, and it took like 3 hours. It is slow going in Cebu, but just because it's very mountainous and the roads are not the greatest. I mean, the roads are safe. They're just not built like freeways are in North America. So it is kind of slow going, but it's very scenic, a very beautiful island. And again, it only takes a couple hours. So getting to Moalboal is super easy. And there's also more things to do here besides the sardine run. So I would recommend a few things. Number 1 is the sardine run. Number 2 would be the Kawasan Falls canyoneering. This was also one of the best day trips I've done in my life. You can zip line into the staging area, then you're walking down like cliffs and ravines, and you're jumping into the water. There's a few waterfalls. One of the coolest things that I've done, I'd highly recommend the Kawasan Falls. I actually rented a motorbike and just drove around, I think it was called Badian, the Badian Highlands and Osmeña Peak. Super beautiful. It was a fun day just ripping around on a motorbike. Other things that you can do, there is day trips where you could go to Oslob and see whale sharks. There's White Beach, and the town itself is very lively. It's a good place to have some drinks and some good food. So I found that it was just a very super cool location, lots of stuff to do, and very centrally located. And I spent about 1 week in Moalboal, and looking back, I probably could have spent an extra few days here. No problem at all. And last up, let's talk about where to stay in the town. Now, to give you an example of the distances, I was actually staying up here in Divers Lodge Plumeria. I went during Christmas time. It was quite busy, and this is all that I could find that was available. And for me to walk from about here all the way down to the main center, it took about 15 minutes, so it wasn't too bad. If I were to do it all over again, I would stay somewhere in this area. This kind of Tubil Road and Panexema Road, you'll see like the Blue Mango restaurant right here. This is kind of like the town square, and I'd probably stay somewhere around here if I were to do it all over again. Everything is in close proximity. You can walk everywhere. But you'll find some nicer hotels down here, like the Quo Vadis Dive Resort. I hope I'm not butchering that. There's all sorts of cool hotels around here, but you still want to be walking distance to the main action. If I were to do it all over again, that's what I would do. And if you're staying up here to walk to the Sardine Run area, 5 minutes or so. So very accessible place. I just think it's better if you're right in the heart of the action. Just my opinion. Well, that's my take on the Sardine Run. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are watching this and you're thinking about going, I have a free downloadable itinerary for you in the written description. And stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.